the most powerful part of our conference. We did it for the first time last year and received rave reviews. People wanted to hear from young adults who had aged out of the foster care system, were in out-of-home placements, exactly the kids that is our mission. So what we're going to do this afternoon for the next hour is they have been given a list of questions. We had reached out to our local programs for questions to ask them. We have it down to, 4 or 8. I don't know if we're going to have extra time. If we do have extra time, we will take questions from the audience, understanding that if they're inappropriate or our panel is uncomfortable with them, we will move on. So just be mindful of that. Okay, they're ready. So the first question is, please introduce yourself. Where are you from? How long were you in foster care or out-of-home placement? And how many placements did you have?
Hi everyone. I'm Alize Mills. I've been in foster care for 6 years, and I've had 4 placements.
My name is Olivia Johnston. I'm from Gurnee, Illinois, and I was in out-of-home placement since I was 12.
My name is Cameron from Europe, Razgrad, Bulgaria, and my out-of-home placement was I was adopted 4 times, moved around, and aged out of foster care at the age of 18.
What message would you like to share that may help other kids in similar situations?
A message I will share to other youth is never give up on yourself, your purpose, or your dream. Even through everything that you face and been through, it's all for a purpose and a reason.
I would say for me that situations that you can't control, I wouldn't let it define you, especially with foster care kids. I feel like a lot of the stuff that happens to them is not self-inflicted, so try not to take the burden or brunt of that.
They just keep going, don't stop, trust the people around you, and ask for help when individuals need it. I said, at times you gotta laugh. This world is very dark, and I love to laugh. So if you can involve that in something that you do it. Also telling people that it's now, it's not gonna be in 10 years, where you are currently. That's a big difference. I look in that past, and I talk about it all the time, even now, that 5 years ago, did I expect my life to be where it is? No. I think that's always to remind individuals about that, because it is just temporary, it's not forever.
We're going through these questions very quickly, so start thinking of some questions. Last year they just kept talking. Right. For panel member, one of you had a CASA. Which of you had a CASA? Okay, are you ready? How did CASA impact your story?
I didn't have a CASA worker for long, but she was really nice. She was an old lady. She was elderly. And
Erica just said she was probably 42.
No, so she used to pick me up from school and stuff. And she used to ask me what I wanted to do. And every time we would go to Chick-fil-A, we would talk. And we had stuff in common, not really in common. But she would talk about her Catholic church, and then I would talk about my church and stuff. And I don't know, she was just sweet, and she bought me birthday gifts and stuff. So, and she used to take me to Chick-fil-A.
How long was she your CASA?
Not long, probably not long though. But she's still considered, we still have contact, so she's really sweet. She just had surgery, and I really like her. She's really sweet.
So what did she do for you that nobody else in your experience did for you?
Bought me birthday gifts.
Okay, I think it's time to move on. So the audience is primarily CASA advocates. I would like to ask you, what would you like them to understand about families that are involved in the child welfare system? Cameron, you want to go first?
Yeah. I always say listen to the child, and I get as a parent and older adult, listening to a kid sounds like the dumbest thing possible you can offer, but it's true. The kids are the ones living the situations, not the parents, not the social worker, not the judge, but the kid. The listening once in a while to, I think, what the kid is saying, what they're feeling, has a bigger impact than going to the court hearing every 6 months and being like, all right, what's going on? Yep, bye. Having that connection, being able to listen to the kid and how it's impacting them and what differences they want to see within their life to be able to move forward too. Not saying that you have to go by it, but kids already in that situation, why not throw a few extra wings out there too,
Follow up. How did you know if you were being heard? So you're saying, that we should be listening to the kids. How do you know you're being heard?
Never had that question. I think it's the aftermath, kind of like, I'm not going to describe this correctly, the ripple to the effect. So if you listen to the kid, you'll see an effect that's different than what's kind of happening now. So if the goal is to reunify with the child and the parent, okay, and the CASA worker is there to assist and advocate towards the kid, more than, I don't know if this is on, so
Yeah.
I feel like it's not loud at all. Having that ripple effect to it is how you're going to see a bigger impact. So if a kid's like, I want to spend more time with mom and dad, have that CASA, speak with the judge, have that more impact, and try it. If it doesn't work, well, you say, all right, kid didn't know what he's saying.
I'd agree with that. I think Cam, you mentioned it on the head. It's just listen to them. I think everyone probably says it just to listen to the child more, but like you said, kind of truly go through with it. Don't just be that person that listens to them, but rather than someone that acts on the stuff that they, tell you. And that I think that it's valid. I think a lot of points that I made when I was younger, just adults in general, were invalidated just because of my age or experiences that I've been through. And I think that their situation is, what they're going through, and that's what they know their truth is. So just kind of understanding, even if you aren't from that perspective, try to put yourself in their shoes.
Wait, what was the question again?
What would you like CASA advocates to understand about families that are involved in the child welfare system?
I don't know. That everyone is different. Nobody is really the same. I feel like, I don't know, and I feel like you should give every family a chance. Like, everyone is different. Everybody comes from different backgrounds. Nobody is perfect. So, I would say just give everybody a chance. I don't really know what to say when it comes to this question, but I would just say give everybody a chance.
Next question, how could a CASA advocate have helped you prepare for success? And do you have any specific suggestions?
So for mine, I never had CASA when I was in the court, or going through the court system, which learning about CASA and understanding it, kind of wishes I did. But looking back on what I missed out on, I think is, going back is what we said, was kind of listening, having someone else advocating on the youth side. My story is really weird just because I was adopted 4 times and different things, but an example that it just works out would be when you have a child in the courtroom, a social worker in the courtroom, and then the judge in the front, but the social worker has a lawyer or someone that represents their agencies with them, then who's standing with that youth representing them too? Not that the social worker can't advocate for herself, but that's just the legal process. So now we have youth with a stranger they don't even know, and CASA allows you to develop and build that relationship with the youth. So having someone that's willing to side and also just tell the kids sometimes, all right, that's not really a realistic offer because of the situation you're thrown into, but let's look at an alternative way to go about it, or how can we use your idea, your thought process to maybe reach your goals that you have.
Just something specific to my situation. I think, I am in college right now. I go to UW Stout, and I think that just letting them know that you can go to to college, whether or not that was a belief that was put in their head or they believe it themselves, that it is very possible. I just think that if you shoot for the stars, is that what everyone always says, but I don't think that goes true for some people who just haven't had those opportunities in their life, but there are programs like Fostering Success and Stout, which is our advisor for both of that. I know she didn't want me to point her out, but I did anyway. But just programs like that to let them know that there are opportunities besides, the huge financial burden that it brings, that you can do it.
Before you pass on the mic, can you explain to this group what fostering success is?
Yes, so me and Cam are both in Fostering Success. I think we're the only program in the state besides Milwaukee, who's kind of getting, and Eau Claire, who are both like kind of in the startup of getting a foster program. This year, I think we had I don't know if we added 70 students or we have 70 students, but it's a significant amount more than we did before. And it's open to anyone who experienced homelessness or out-of-home care like I did, who didn't think I really belonged in that group, but once Gail got me talking about it, I'm like, oh, I really need this group. You just don't know you need it until you're there. And they basically help you advocate for yourself and help financially make it worth it and able to go to school. Because in my situation last year, I was born in Madison, and then after the passing of both my parents, I moved to Illinois and came back to Wisconsin for school. So I had out-of-state tuition, which was I had an unmet need after I did my FAFSA, and so I was just like, well, I can't do it. I just can't go to school. And Gail kind of helped me work through that process of finding out who we need to talk to, what we need to do in order to keep you here. And I'm still at Stout, so yeah, it's an awesome program.
I would say just give them the resources that you have. There's a lot of resources out here to get you on the path to success. Even if they aren't accepted, just simple conversation and motivating them and letting them know there's nothing, it's not just about the bad things, and there's different ways to success, and just letting them know that they can get there no matter how long it takes or no matter what steps they need to take to get there. I feel like just being that voice and also that listening ear to a youth is important to help them to get on a pathway to success. And success can look different for everybody. It's just not like one type of success. It can just be stepping stones, and to let them know that just you, if a youth is not going to school, you making those steps and that progress to actually get to school or to get to whatever it is you need to do to be on the road to success, then you're a successful person.
While you have a mic, are you comfortable sharing your story? Telling how you got to be on this panel? What happened to you, how you ended up in out-of-home placement. You don't have to if you're not comfortable.
I wouldn't say I'm not comfortable, but I was in the foster care system, group homes, whatever. Then I transitioned over to supervised independent living when I turned 17 years old. And when I got into the supervised independent living program, I was introduced to the youth advisory council. And I joined. And when I first joined, I really didn't have passion to use my voice or to, talk to people. I just used to go just because I didn't have nothing else to do. They were giving us vouchers and ordering pizza and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm gonna go. And then once I actually noticed my voice actually matters, I can actually help people, not even just, people, but, youth, and not even just youth in foster care, but, youth everywhere in my community. And that's when I really grew a passion to do what I do now, and that's how I got on this panel and other panels. Once I leave here, I'm going to be going to another panel that's not even, about foster care. So I don't know, I'm excited for the future and stuff, but I've been through a lot of things, and I'm still facing stuff. I'm 20 years old. I'm in beauty school, and drive for DoorDash. Like, I don't like working for people because I don't really like people telling me what to do. But not saying like I don't like people telling me what to do, but I don't like people telling me what to do. So like yeah, so I work when I want to, and I just focus on school. And beauty school is part of being beautiful, so it helps me to like realize every day like okay, I can be beautiful, and I can also help other people to be beautiful, and I can also advocate, and I can also do what I want to when I want to, and yeah, that's my life.
Yeah, it is. So I think throwing the bus, share my story too. So for me, I'm from Europe, Eastern Europe, Bulgaria. Lived in an orphanage for 9 years. Never met my birth parents. Don't know what they look like or what they do. And came to the States. My first family kept me for 4 months. Got readopted, kind of like a Walmart browsing channel. And then I said jokes, guys, you gotta laugh. And then my second family adopted me, and they kept me for about 2.5 to 3 years. And then, again, adopting for another child. Got another family, so then this was my third family, and then moved. And that family, and families, when I don't like it, that it makes it sound so harsh on the families, because life happens. Like, we all understand life happens. So yeah, I was adopted 4 times, but it's not how you look at it. It's not all negative. Is there other options that could have been done? Absolutely. But dwelling on it as a harsh consequence of life is not how you get through it. So for me, I always laugh at the past because each family is an opportunity, and each opportunity got me to where I am, into my career, to what I do, and all that. So after my 4th family, I got behaviors like a normal angry kid would have. Family didn't want that, so now I'm 16, a little too old to get adopted. And so I went to a group home for juvenile delinquents, aged out at the age of 18, when I was 18. Where my birthday is the summer birthday, so I was going into my senior year of high school, so I was already 18, aged out, lived alone my senior year of high school. Did do independent living and had some assistance with that, which helped me tremendously, obviously. Still worked, got into college, and then out of college soon after my internship, and now I'm here.
So I necessarily wasn't in foster care, but like I said, after the passing of my parents, I went to go live with my grandparents in Illinois, whom I didn't know very much at all. And so I lived there until I was about 18, and my grandparents and I, kind of like Cam said, I don't blame them at all. We didn't know each other, and I always say that in every house you always have, certain stuff that you do, whether it's like, chores and stuff like that, and so it just didn't work out, but I appreciate them and for everything that they did, like as far as, bringing me closer with my relationship with Christ, and honestly just helping me get to like college, and even after the fact at 18 I was on my own, living at my friend's house, just kind of couch surfing, and then I finally got to Stout, and then living in the dorms, and as good as it is there, yeah. Now that was my first few years, so I'm going into my junior year, living in a house now, it's much better. So yeah, I just, kind of a foster kid, out of home care.
I think the nice thing about all of us sharing our stories is to give you guys kind of a visual how different they all are. Like, we're here to represent their CASA and, give understanding and answer questions, but even able to answer these questions in different scenarios and situations, and how you guys could have helped us, I guess, in those times when we were there. I want to go back to a question where it said, how did CASA advocates help us, or how could they if we didn't have it? It's also about connection. It's weird just the other day we were talking about connections with individuals, and one more connection is one more knowledge, one more idea, one more person advocating in different form. So not necessarily were they going to be there and do everything I needed? No, but maybe 5 years down the line, they have a connection that would help me get to where I want to go. So it's not necessarily did I need a CASA worker at that time? No, but would have been nice to have been introduced at a time where I could have had it maybe a year or 2 down the road, or even at that time.
So there's that consistent adult that would have been in your life. So what are some positive experiences, and I'm not going to call it foster care anymore because it's out-of-home care. Can you just share a couple of positive experiences that you've had?
For me, I said my independent living worker. It's actually ironic to think about it now, but I work with my independent living worker. So 7 years ago, he used to help me assist to where I am, and now we work. And I think looking back to foster care or out-of-home placement or in any form of child welfare, having that connection at that time and having that positive adult and someone who is still there to advocate and just joke around with at times. You know, you're a senior living alone, trying to get through class, and no one else in your class understands what you're doing and why you're doing it. Positive and foster care, I think, is two words that never really combine most of the time. So trying to figure out, I think, having an advocate, other than that, I mean, positivity never really was there. I was in a group home, so it was just different how I went around.
For me, I'd say just how independent I got. I think you kind of just develop that skill being a foster kid. You just kind of learn to advocate for yourself and pretty much do everything on your own and learn how to do it. So I appreciate that regardless of my situation. I think it helped me get to where I am today. I think it helped me learn a lot of skills that my friends don't know. I can, call my doctor, make an appointment myself, do all these amazing things that my friends just think I'm so, adulting. Adulting, as they say. And, I just really appreciate that. It was inadvertent, but good life skills that I got.
I would say the end of the whole foster care thing, because I feel like being here, not here, like I'm talking about being in the council, that was the most impactful thing. I met a lot of awesome people and like I'm doing a lot of awesome things. I've been exposed to a lot of good things. I've been exposed to a lot of good things and good people, so that would be the best part of me being in foster care, and also getting to know myself. The independent living program, me being in my own apartment and stuff, I am able, still to this day, to just get to know myself, and like I can look in the mirror and, because I have time to look in the mirror and be like, girl, you was just fine. Just looking at myself and stuff and just realizing like the different things and the different gifts and talents and stuff that I have. Like if I wasn't able to be, like if I didn't go to the foster care system, I wouldn't have been in my own apartment right now, and I wouldn't be doing like the positive things and have an impact on like not even just myself but other, teen girls or youth. I wouldn't have that impact if I was really never in a foster care system. So that's one, that it's several positive things that I can take away from the foster care system.
So you all know that CASA advocates are generally that one consistent adult in children's lives as they're navigating the child welfare system. Had you had that person in your life, how could they have helped you with the challenges that you experienced?
For me, having a CASA advocate would have helped. Just want to make sure. For me, it would have really helped having another advocate on my side. I know we speak a lot about that, but it's true. Having the more people understand and go where you're going would help. Having a CASA advocate would have given me a more appropriate placement instead of where I was located and what I was doing at that time. I moved schools, I moved the whole town, everything, and overnight. So no one said goodbye. 4 years later, I saw everyone again. They're like, "Where'd you go?" So I think having someone in CASA who could have either worked on finding more appropriate placement, maybe did a different way that the court would have gone about it, having another idea. It's just talking to somebody else, I said, having someone by your side is a lot like politics. The more that you have, the more that you're going to win. So I think having just that one step, one more person fighting and understanding what you're doing, and just honestly just advocating. I know I've probably said that 9 times already, but it's true. That's having just someone else speak on your behalf.
So for me, I think it'd just be a person there to talk to. I didn't really get to speak to anyone after my grandparents took us in, and I think just having someone to listen to your situations and try to be as understanding as possible would be awesome. I just don't, I wish there was just more people to talk to, just keep up with you. I think I just never had that, so I'm a little bitter about that. And yeah, you just begin to, hide your feelings, and I just never feel like I got to talk through it with anyone, and I think just that voice would have been nice.
I've had people to talk to, not even just CASA workers, but just the people around me. It's not hard to find people to talk to. I don't know, I feel like if you're a good person, you attract people to you. And like, even now at this age, I'm meeting new people and talking to people and stuff. So like my CASA worker, she's a good person, and like I still have access to her. So it's like I'm 20 years old, and like even I feel like just because she's, I'm not gonna keep saying she's old and stuff, but like I want to be able to like go to her funeral and stuff like that, because like she was really a good person. Like, being funny, but like for real, like when because she's like 60 something or 70 something years old, and I really want to go, like, be able to go to her funeral and stuff like that, because she's a really good person, and I'm gonna continue to stay in contact with her.
He has an issue with Mike. We are on our last question, and we still have a half an hour to go, so I want you to start thinking about things that you want to ask, if it's specific to one of the three, or if you want to ask them all three. So the last question that we have planned for them are, what are your plans for the future, and how do you hope to get there?
For mine, my plan in the future is finish college and then kind of go out from there. I don't plan things too far ahead. I like to see where life goes. I love to travel, so my goal is not to stay in the U.S., maybe move back to Europe for a period of time. And then how did foster care help with those plans? My degree's in helping human development family studies, so it's a give back helping degree. So for me, my past, everything in foster care, I know I said, was there a positive at the time? Not really. Looking forward 10 years, absolutely. I mean, it got me the people in my life that are there now. It got me to the career choice I'm doing. Got me 4 years of college, and plenty of debt that I got to choose that I wanted to take. So having the tough background led to a positive future and kind of even a better whatever's going to come ahead of it.
For me, I hope to be in sales, preferably medical device sales. I had some family members who were in sales, and I love talking with people, and that would be awesome to get to travel and go to different hospitals and work in that environment. So I hope for that. And then I hope to provide myself enough money to give back to Fostering Success and other people who have helped me along the way, because it really helps. So.
For me, once I finish beauty school, I want to go back to school to UW, and I want to help. I want to do a lot of things. Well, I'm going to do a lot of things, but I feel like when I'm done with beauty school, I want to open like salons all around the world. I'm not going to work there, but that's what I'm going to do. And yeah, and then like just working with teens, like that's my biggest thing, because I don't know what it is about me, but I connect with a lot of teen girls in my community. Like, I can be like, what y'all doing? Let's go to church, or let's go somewhere, and like, I can sit down and talk to them and they'll listen. Like, I get text messages about how grades and stuff went up. Like, sister, I got so many little sisters, and I feel like being that positive influence, I feel like that's something that I just want to do, like, everywhere. Not even just in my community, but just reaching teens everywhere. So that's my hope for the future, is to just change my generation. Not really change them, but, bring more positive light into my generation.
Wow. 5 steps into it.
What advice do you have for kids that are in a really difficult situation, being moved around or whatever? What kind of advice would you give them?
The kid. I'm just gonna yell. I don't like mics. Elevate, you want to? Advice would just be listen and just being there for them. It's a really bad advice when you come down, but at that time the youth is not going to understand. Truthfully, they're not like fully comprehending what's going on. They're being thrown in this situation. They have all these people in their life, and all they can do is just be thrown where they gotta go. And just being someone that's willing to cry if they have to cry, willing to give them a hug, even go and get McDonald's or something. Just being that positive and showing that it's not always the dark times within what's going on. So
I think that you'll have a permanent home one day. And that always happened. You know, it was like I will make my own permanent home for my own family one day. So that's what I was just like to think of. But now I'm really excited to, very temporary. I'm just excited to graduate and have my own family and my own, give them what I didn't have.
Honestly, there's really not much you can do about that because you can't, if a kid is away from their mom, their family, whatever, and they go from placement to placement to placement, all you can really do is pray for them, stand in the gap, and ask God to help them and be that light to them when you are around them. You know, you can't really change how a person feels, but prayer does a lot. Like, and if you do that, then everything will work out. You gotta have faith that everything will work out for that kid.
That's great advice from a young adult. She didn't get the mic enough this morning.
I have a conversation about code switching. My question to you is it okay to be referred to and communicated with and almost making you identify as a foster child out of placement? I mean, is that a crown you want to wear? And how does that make you feel?
We just had this discussion.
Totally, we're just talking about it. I think it's just that stereotype comes across, and it obviously means no harm. Like we know it means absolutely no harm. Well, most of us know it means no harm, and it's laughing just because it is that serious. The only thing we can do is kind of hope to change that in the future. You can't change kind of where people's perspective or minds are set, but you can influence another individual, and they can influence another individual, and the way they talk or the way they bring language will impact that individual, and they'll use the same form of language, same communication, and that kind of, I think, over time changes how it's portrayed and identified, because we're not all foster kids, but when you hear the word foster kid, you're like, all right, no family, poor, dumb, or trouble, that's a big one, this is foster's trouble. It's like, no, we're just kids sometimes that got stuck in the wrong hole, or as a lot of people like to joke in foster care, or at least that I meet with, is the road's just not fully paved. You have a few more obstacles and a few more left turns that you have to take before you can get there.
For me, I'd say for a long time I just really didn't want to identify with anyone in that community. I had my grandparents, but it just wasn't the most stable home that I had, and I really tried to hide the fact that my parents passed. I think I just told the story at the last panel that I went to, that like even little stuff when I'd have to go home and get my sheet signed when they say like mom and dad, I just say my mom signed it or my dad signed it. I just really didn't want to accept the fact. But obviously coming to these now, it makes me more comfortable with being, out of home care labeled. It doesn't really affect me. Like I think you grow through skin when you kind of grow through that stuff. But yeah, I think what a better question would be is like, what would we be called?
Yeah, I mean, all the speakers that came and spoke at the event today, what were their labels? They're just humans. They introduce as an individual. They weren't introduced as a specific thing. We're just humans. I'm Cam. All day.
doesn't hurt me though.
It do bother me because I feel like I'm not a foster child. You know, like I'm a foster child. I feel like I don't like that because at the end of the day, I don't live my life like a foster kid, and I just feel like sometimes people do come off like that, like oh, like they'll treat you like you're a foster kid, like, or not even a foster kid, like the actions of people. I'm not a foster kid. You know, I won't say kid, but like, I don't know, like how to explain it. I just don't like the fact of anybody even have to be called that because I feel like it's not okay. Like you already have to go through the process of being a foster kid, so to be treated like one or to be talked about as a foster kid, I don't like it. That's not how I live my life every day. As a foster kid, I'm as a vet.
I think educating individuals on the term of foster care might help too. I mean, portrayed as all these negative things. I was like Olivia, it's easy to not be able to show that you don't have parents and stuff when you're in college, but in high school, when you're going home, it's not your home, and when you're going places, it's harder to identify. So I think educating individuals that foster care is not a dark demeanor of juveniles that nobody wanted and just left in a jail or a group home. They're humans that have a little more curves in the road, but it's not all bad. And I think just having that education
And
and influencing.
every foster child don't get in trouble with the law or anything because I've been in foster care for 6 years. I never been to the detention center. I never been to a residential treatment, none of that. So, you know, the way people view you, you know, some people it's just their parents' mistakes as to why they're in foster care. You know, my mom, I don't even know her like that. I never met my dad. So basically, you know, I basically raised myself and it was up to me. You know, by the grace of God, I was able to make the right decision. You know, everybody not the same, but every foster child is not a bad child.
Can you please use the mic? Can you please use the mic?
Cameron?
What?
Cameron, do you speak more than one language, and has it benefited you, or at first did it create problems when you first came here?
I love my life sometimes because I think there's questions and stories behind it. English is my third language, but fluently English is my only language. When I first came to the States, I spoke Bulgarian because that's where I live. And the education system in America wanted me to learn Chinese before English. So I learned Chinese, and then a year later, learned English. So currently, no, I do not speak multiple languages. When I fly back to those areas and like visit or whatever, it comes back. And it's just having that fluency and that connection with someone speaking to you all the time. Took a German class and only took it because I had 2 buddies from Germany and like, hey, you're gonna have to help me because no one else in this town speaks German. And it's just, that didn't end well. But when I go back to Europe and listen to my friends and other people speak, I comprehend it. So it's just having that knowledge and being stuck in that area for a long period of time to be able to really comprehend it.
When you first got here though, and you had people talking to you, did it like double the problems being foster?
Ironically, I got in contact with my first adopted parents 2 years ago. And as I was 10 years old, 9 years old, coming to the country, I want to know why they didn't keep me for only 4 months. Like, that's a very fair question. Like, you just spent a lot of money. Why only 4 months? And they said I didn't tell them what I wanted, but I did, just in a wrong language. So it did add quite a few barriers to it. But I think it's how you grow from it. It's funny now. Not funny, guys. No one listened to the 10-year-old, but couldn't hear him.
I've got just one comment. I always say that they're children first. Children in the foster care system. I don't call kids foster children. So I think it's just important to label them as children first and foremost. And they just happen to be in the foster care system. But my question to you is, as a foster parent, can you tell me, and I know it's different for every child, but just in general, what are some of the things that would have helped you when you first were in your out-of-home placement to help you feel comfortable? Sometimes I struggle, it's different with different children of different ages and whatever, but I try to kind of keep it low-key and calm and let them get acclimated. But was there any one thing you say, geez, I wish they would have X when I came into care?
Do you have your own kids?
Yes.
What do you do to your own kids?
Yeah, well, yeah, you know,
That was not meant at all dark. I'm sorry, that came really harsh. That was not, it really was not. I've used that before, and it's true, like, when people ask, like, what do we do as foster parents? Well, you raise your kids, right? So just welcome them in and treat them like your own kid. They're not anything different. You know, that makes sense.
I'd say the same, but I do understand. I truly believe, as out-of-home placement child, that my grandparents wanted to love me as their own, but couldn't because I wasn't their own. And I think as I could see that, and I really think that they tried to make it not like that, but that's what it came across, and I appreciate them and love them. But I think just like I said before, just not making it seem so obvious that they've had trauma happen in their life, and the change, trying to make it seem as normal as I can, because a lot of stuff that we all have been through is like not normal, and so I feel like that normal would have just been nice to just feel it and not have, well, are you okay because, you know, does this remind you of when you were young, or yada yada yada, just to play like the rest of the other kids, you know, would have been nice.
My first placement was a group home, so I feel like it should have been more structured, definitely. I really don't know what to say about a foster home because I've never been to a foster home, but all my placements was group homes, and they basically let us do whatever it was that we wanted to do. So I would say more structure and just being more firm about, you know, the rules in place and stuff, because, you know, at the end of the day, like that was our home, but it was a facility. So they needed to basically have things in place to keep us in line, because we was doing whatever we wanted to do, and in result of that, you know, girls was getting sex trafficked, coming up missing, you know, all kind of stuff. So
People also throw back on your question is to have an understanding that this kid just went through something. Maybe don't be soft, but also just understand there's going to be behaviors you're going to act up. Not necessarily because they're bad kids, but you just threw a kid who's been in the same situation probably already. Again, in the same situation, taking him or them, I shouldn't say him, but from family, from friends, the people they know that they're close to. I think just being able to say, like, you might not fully get it, but you got to get it. And it's not that you just took it away, you fully took it away. They don't even have the opportunity to contact those people again, you know, or what the court points or says.
My question for you is in response to a couple of comments you made, Cameron. But any of the three of you can answer certainly. I think, as I recall, you said something about 5 years ago you couldn't have seen your life being what it is today, which means, you know, as you look back. Okay. So now, is there something that someone could have said or done, and maybe there's not even an answer to this question, but is there something that would have helped you 5 years ago? Because you also said a person needs to know that life isn't necessarily going to be the way it is today. You know, my wife and I have, my wife has a 14-year-old and I have her 12-year-old brother. Is there anything that would have helped you to understand, to really comprehend that what you were seeing 5 years ago wasn't going to necessarily be true for the rest of your life?
Honestly, probably nothing. That's just the truth. I mean, you look at just everybody's life, but even your own, when you reflect, if you think 4 years ago, maybe you're gonna have this house, or you're gonna buy a car, it's like, you don't think of those things, it just kind of develops in your life. So just, yeah, it's a process that comes again. You can tell them and inform them many times that, you know, this is just temporary, and that's the best thing I wish I could maybe receive. Maybe I did receive it, just don't realize it. But at that time, it's just being supportive and saying it's not forever, because it's not. And I have flashbacks and memories of different things 5 years ago that I'm like, wow, I was there, now I'm here. You know.
Well, I should comment on that. Even just being able to say to my CASA kid that I heard a panel, and the panel members said, you know, 5 years ago I couldn't have predicted, I wouldn't have anticipated life being what it is. Even that is helpful. Thank you.
As I think about the other group of adults that spend a lot of time with kids, it would be teachers and educators. I'm a CASA volunteer, but I'm also a school psychologist, so I would want to know if you have any particular stories or examples of how a teacher, educator, a school psychologist, or a school counselor was particularly helpful or supportive to you. Like any teacher or school year stories.
I had, for mine at least, I lived alone my senior year of high school. I had some people that would kind of understand, but no one's going to understand why an 18-year-old's living on their own, when doesn't have their homework done, is leaving class halfway early to drive 2 hours to go to this thing. I think it's being able to educate other teachers is probably a bigger thing, or being open-eyed. You know, not just even in a high school setting, or middle school, even college setting. You know, when we say we don't really have that parent, we're just talking about our emergency contacts on the way down here. My cell phone number. It's kind of funny, but it is possible that's going to receive a phone call. And that's a thought also when those individuals are in school, high school, college, when I'm going to use myself as the example. I have to go to a doctor appointment, but mom and dad didn't set it up. I had to. Okay? So having to understand that the kid is going to maybe a different route of life and being open-minded. Not saying you give them privileges, make it easier, you know, but go with it and understand that things aren't going to be normal as maybe your own kid or the other kids in class. You know, they're two different people and they're two different situations that they have to go about. I got yelled at in college a year ago because I made a doctor appointment during my class time. The doctor appointment was made 4 months earlier, before the semester schedule was even out. And it's like, you don't know these, but explain that to a teacher who doesn't understand foster care, or a parent who doesn't have a kid in that situation that you're working with, you know, I think if you were to explain that, it's a huge help.
By the way, yay, UW Stout.
I would say I had a lot of supportive adults in high school. Even though, like, my freshman year, I had to miss. They all loved me in spite of, I don't know if it was the way I looked or my personality, what it was, but, like, they all, like, cared about me. And I was able to, like, even though, like, I wasn't knowledgeable of a lot of things, I had an IEP through school and stuff. I really didn't know much. My teachers and, you know, the principals and, you know, counselors and different people in the school, they helped me to get through. So, and I ended up graduating on time. So, that was just awesome.
I have one question, and I wasn't going to ask or speak, I just wanted to hear from all of you. I just want to say, I think I'm speaking for this whole room. I think everyone in this room are here because we care about you and all the other kids out there, and we love you, and we're glad to see that you were all doing so well. But one person that really touched my heart was Elisa, when she commented that she was in group homes, and then commented that there were girls that were in human trafficking and were coming up missing. And I don't want an answer from you, but at some point, I think with all the group of people here and people that are trying to help that situation, I don't know if I'm asking for an answer, but I'm just feeling that maybe while you were in the group homes, you didn't know how to comprehend that. And I'm very glad that you escaped that, but I feel for all the other children that have gotten into that. And I don't know if there's an answer, but just so you know that there are a lot of people trying to help that. And if you tell your story, I think a lot of people will listen to it and try to resolve some of those type of issues. But I think I love you all, and thank you. So I have a question for you. I've heard you. I have seen Cameron, you especially. You came from a dark place, and all three of you have this incredible positive future vision. And how did you evolve into that? How did you go from that really difficult place to having the attitudes that you have now? And you guys are young. How'd you pull that off?
How do you want to live your life every day? Do you want to be being dark and so depressed, or do you want to get prescribed drugs all every day from your doctor? Did you get that? Or do you want to just move forward and kind of laugh at it? You can't change the past. Meet the Robinsons, my favorite movie. That's really where it hit me. Was keep moving forward, and I have the song singing in my head right now. But if anyone's seen that movie, that was the entire quote of it. Keep moving forward, and that's like.
Can you repeat that?
Only do.
Movie name?
What?
You mind repeating the movie name?
Oh, Meet the Robinsons.
Oh, Meet the Robinsons.
Yeah, so it's a bio quick about a kid who gets adopted by a family, and it's weird and stuff, and then becomes normal and becomes a good guy. Very bland, but it's true. Life's dark all everywhere. I mean, politics, government, health insurance, school, education. I mean, there's darkness everywhere you find it, everywhere you experience, family loss, but dwelling on it doesn't do anything. You can sit and cry about everything that's happened, or you can joke, you can make friends. I mean, our friends, I don't think even understand half the stuff that happened in our lives, but it doesn't matter, because that was then. That's not what's now. Does it influence a little bit of what we do? Absolutely. For Olivia and I, this is kind of what we do all the time. I've been doing this for going on 6-7 years now. Different events like this. So it's about using it as a positive, not just going as a negative on it. Because life is wild, and you just gotta keep going on the road.
I think I'd always hear, I don't know how you do it. If we were just talking about this on the way down, our roommates were like, I don't know how you do it. Like, if we were in your position, I would just give up, and I don't know what I'd do without my mom or dad, and you just can't give up.
We have dark moments. We're not perfect. We definitely have our dark moments, but I think our positivity outweighs the negative on it, because we just want to have fun. Yeah, literally that's true. What else could really? Sadly, that always gets answered, but it's true. It's kind of, all right, what else? Just let's add it.
Other questions? Did you want to answer that? Okay.
I was in a negative, dark place in my life at a point in time, and then I realized that there was God and that He can change people, and that's when I realized, once I really wanted to get to know God and stuff, I started to change. I started to pray and ask God to change me, and when He starts to change me, He also started to bless me. So I'm on that journey now every day, just striving to live a good, clean life, even though I still have my flaws, and I still have moments where it's I'm broken, and I'm still getting through the different things that I face and that I'm facing, just to know that God is on my side. I continue to live my life every day knowing that it's to stop getting better. So, yeah, that's the greatest decision I ever made, was just giving my life to Christ. And like, yes, I want to get to know you. I think I'm ready, and I'm not gonna do nothing that's not pleasing, because even though nobody is perfect, it's just the effort of just trying and wanting to live a clean life.
You guys use the mic, we can't hear you in the back. Thank you. Go ahead.
I would love to sit and talk to the three of you all the rest of the afternoon. My CASA is 17, she'll be aging out next June. I'm in a panic. She's calm, she's fine. I'm in a panic about how much she doesn't know. And she doesn't seem to have what you have, a plan for your future. You didn't get to this point without having a vision for your future, and you've worked towards that. I'm looking at how to inspire her, and I say to her, when you part, sometimes I say to her, think about your future. Try to envision a life that you would like to have, so that you can think about how to make that happen. Do you think that's good advice, or can you give me better advice to help her?
I think that's really good advice. I didn't have a vision of my life. I mean, I really didn't. It's moving forward in the process of that age gap that you are. So what am I supposed to be doing as an 18-year-old living in this town, and what are my peers? It's an enormity of what am I supposed to be doing, not necessarily I had a future that this is what I'm going to hit. And just realizing, okay, I'm 18 years old, most people are in high school, so I should probably finish off my year. Okay, now people are going to college after this, don't know what that is, but sure, let's write a few tests, pay a few more bucks, and then, it's not necessarily set in that mind as a leap, it's just understanding that part of life you have to still follow along, you choose the narrow or the road on it.
I have a little brother who was dragged along through everything, and probably put through a little bit more trauma than I was, and I always just tell him that break the cycle. I think that's a big thing that always is in my head. I don't want to be a product of my environment. I don't want to repeat the same mistakes that my parents did, and just always reminding Joey that we always wanted that family that cared for us and loved for us, and was the closest thing to normal that we got, and we got the exact opposite. And so I always tell my brother, I just wish that we, just keep that in mind, that we want that family for ourselves and to have that relationship with the close family that we always dreamed of. So.
Kind of fighting for what do you want, how bad do you want it. It's funny, a lot of people ask, what do you want to do after college? What's your career goal? Where do you want to go? And all I always say, because my major, I want to give back, I want to pay it forward. And I think about 4 months ago it hit me. I said, and it's cheesy and dumb, but I said, out of college, what I want to do is I want to raise a family and be the dad I never got. This is great. Want yourself is the biggest thing. Like for your youth that's aging out, just say, what do you really want? And maybe they'll give you some crazy answers because they don't really, but bring it on. What do you?
We have time for one more question. Okay. It's perfect timing. So I just want to thank you. It took a lot of courage. It's taken a lot of work on your part from the inside of you to be who you are today. And I got to tell you, you three inspire me. Thank you.